Alright, so this is going to be a little series of videos on mostly three chords. We're going to do a G chord, a C add 9 chord, and a D chord. And so this whole series of videos is just going to be playing around with these chords and kind of looking at different parts of them, how we can play with them. Now there are other ways to play, this is what I'm calling a G chord here. There's other ways to play a G chord. There's a whole bunch of many different ways to play a G chord, but this is a really nice hand-friendly way to do it. If you look at the sheet, you're probably familiar with this chord before, but there we go. Now a C chord, a standard C chord is generally like this or something, depending on how you learn it. This is going to be a C add 9 chord. So it's slightly different from a C. Here's a C. Here's a C add 9. This note goes from here to here, which kind of gives it a little bit different type of feel, maybe a little prettier than a regular major chord. And then the standard D chord shape. Alright, so first thing we want to do is just get comfortable moving back and forth. And another thing that's going to come into play is which note is the root note. And the root note is always going to have the same name as the chord. So if we got a G chord, we're basically looking for the lowest G note that we're playing, and it happens to be 3rd fret right there on the fat string. That's a G. And if you look at the sheet, there's no X's on any of these strings, so we're strumming all 6 of them. Lowest note's G. Alright, a C add 9 chord. I'm not playing the fat string on this one. If you look at the page, there's an X over the fat string. So a C add 9 chord. There's the root note of the C add 9 chord. G chord root note. C chord root note. And when I'm playing the C chord, 3rd fret on that 5th string is a C. When I go to the D chord, the root note is on the 4th string. So I'm not playing the fat string or the A string right underneath that. That's the root note right, that string there. So I'm playing the 4 skinniest strings for that one. So you want to be able to alternate between just the root note and the rest of the chord. G chord, it's easy. I can swing my hand real wide because I just have to kind of, hit the edge over here, and that's the right note. When I go to the C chord, you got to be a little bit more careful. I don't want to hit that fat string, I want to hit the A string on that C note. So there's 2 ways you can deal with this. And I've kind of done both here. One thing, I'm no longer swinging my hand wildly because I want to be a little bit more careful. I don't want to accidentally hit the wrong string there. So I've tightened up my grip a little bit. I'm posted on the bridge. Keeps my hand nice and close. But say I still wanted to swing my hand wildly. Now what I'm doing is over here with my left hand, my thumb is blocking off that fat string. So when I just kind of make a swat at the fat strings, I'm hitting a couple of them there. So this is sort of a little sloppier sound, but that might be a sound you like. Generally, I'm going to do a little bit of both. I'm going to try to tighten up my swing over here and also give myself, a little backup. So I'm going to kind of careful with my right hand in, careful with my left hand. And so if one fails, the other one catches it. All right, D chord. It's a little bit trickier to mute both of them. You could, you got to mute two strings now, so you could bring your thumb way over the top. Or, you know, like I said, just be careful. G chord with the root note, C add 9 chord with the root note, and D chord with the root note. Alright, so there's two ways you're going to want to practice this, and really any chords. One is we're going to practice just one chord by itself and try to get it clear. So meaning however many notes are in the chord. Like, for example, with a G chord, there's 6 different strings that are supposed to ring out. So I'm going to hold the G chord down. Alright, so one of those kind of buzzed a little bit. So I'm going to kind of think about why that was. And what it was the D string had sort of a rattle in it because my finger right here had leaned back into it just a little bit too much. So I'm going to straighten that out. Ooh, that was bad twice. There we go. So I want to make sure I can hear all the strings. C add 9 chord. I'm sure you can hear all 5 notes of that. D chord's only got 4 notes in it. Usually the one you're going to have a hard time getting out is that skinny string. It's probably going to sound like this at first. And once again, it's kind of the same thing. The reason you're not hearing this string is because this finger has leaned back too far and it's muting out that string. There you go. So that's practicing for clarity. And each new chord you come to, you're probably going to want to spend a little bit of time making sure you can get all the notes to ring out that are supposed to ring out. All right, next video we're going to start working on rhythm, moving chords back and forth.